All right, folks, I have good news. We are ready for our next run, which means we are ready to buck up and drive a tea tree. Let's see it.
Yeah, that's short and sweet is probably the way to get into it. My name is ateatree. This is Buck Up and Drive. If you've seen anything about it or heard anything, it's probably that I tend to describe this run as a cross between Tony Hawk, Outrun, and Burnout. Usually I put Tony Hawk last because that's the one that stands out the most. But if any of that doesn't make any sense, we'll get into it. You'll see what we mean real quickly. There's a variety of very silly cars you can drive in this game. It's really a score attack game by nature. You can see on our select screen here, we have a high score for each of our vehicles. A lot of vehicles that are classic representations of cars from video games, the Ferrari from Outrun, the Hornet from Sega GT Rally. And then, of course, because of your generous donations, we will be using car number 13 this evening, the Van Diesel. Its eyes follow the camera,
Oh
so
my, oh my God! I'm so glad that I had
and,
no clue what was happening here.
Carwin, if you'd like to pick a color out of the colors you see on your screen, the swatches below the Van Diesel, what would you like to go with this evening?
I mean, we have to go with my favorite color, which is going to be that light purple in the middle there.
Alright. And as a way of thanking, organizations that have me on board to speedrun this very silly game for them, I always like to do a custom, livery, so that's what we've got going for us at Power Up with Pride this evening. Time is gonna start, on go shortly after, the car drops onto the screen, so with that said, let's get it started.
Ready?
Good luck.
So this thank you so much. This is a game that really ascribes basically to the Mario Kart style, which is to say that you are always drifting and always building up fast per hour in so doing. You want to get as close to 500 fast per hour as possible, and then keep that speed as much as you can. There are these boost strips. There are jump ramps that basically help you maintain your speed because you're not making downforce contact with the ground, so you maintain your momentum better in the air than you do on the ground. So those sorts of things, plus the ability, if we get lucky and hit multiple ramps in a row and you're going the right speed, you can kind of slalom, and that helps you keep your speed and avoid traffic a lot better. Because traffic, when you hit either cars or the things on the side of the road, I guess property destruction is also generally frowned upon around here, you build up heat in the bottom left. When your heat bar fills all the way, the cops come. So we are trying to go quickly and not basically keep a lid on how much destruction we do and when, because the cops are a separate obstacle that you have to deal with in and of themselves.
I
So
feel
we've already
like the cops would be too intimidated by this amazing vehicle to
You'd like to think
want to
so,
arrest
but
you.
I guess it's not their first rodeo. Thankfully, for all the destruction we are wreaking, I can tell you now, and you'll probably see it later if you keep a close eye out. Every vehicle is, except maybe ours, I don't know about that for sure, but every other vehicle is manned entirely by robots, so no one is harmed in the making of this speed run.
Ready?
On into stage number 3, our first kind of alpine climb style. You can see the road on this course is a lot more windy, makes navigating between traffic a little more difficult. Thankfully, we're relatively early on in the run, so the traffic density isn't that high yet. But you see every time we do get hit, it takes us down to nearly 0, so we have to build our speed back up. That's the worst thing that can happen, plus the fact that you have to look at the Van Diesel's face. So really, it's just the worst for you when I crash, so I'll try not to do that
It's just
often.
a distraction.
Yep. Eagle-eyed viewers will probably also notice the billboards on the side of the road, and the fact that all the billboards are currently pride flags. This is something that was in the original version of the game as a kind of occasional thing that showed up. We're going to take it over to the distinctly not Mario level, but since we have Mushy here on the side of our car, some other pipes and shrooms would probably be welcome, right? So yeah, the billboards had pride flags occasionally as kind of an Easter egg, and so people on the Steam forums were like, oh, well, we don't want that. How can we just toggle the pride flags? And he's like, well, okay, I'll give you a toggle. So he put, the creator, Fabio Fontes, put a toggle into the game that made all flags pride flags. Malicious compliance.
I love that. That is so good.
Right? So yeah, these are the cops. Thankfully, the level 1 cops only have one ability, which is to turn on their lights and to charge at you. We're actually going to try to avoid defeating them for a little while, because while the cops are out, we can't build any more heat. So basically, any car we hit now is free. Plus, the fact of the matter is that the cops travel out in front of our vehicle at the exact same rate of speed a couple meters further out. So they basically serve as a battering ram for any traffic that might happen to get in our way in our direct line otherwise. So the longer you can keep them around, it can work to your advantage. Unfortunately, that cop is gone, so now we're back to basic rules until our next one. 2 alpine climb levels in the first 5 is not great. I'm hoping that doesn't mean we're gonna gen one later, but we'll see. I've also, the fact that we've seen some of the sillier levels early on is another toggle that I've set. Typically, you unlock those levels by doing more runs, getting further into the game, but I've set it so that it can just send me at any level at any time. We're gonna go check out the early access version of the game.
Ready?
And we're gonna get into a race with the entrepreneur. The legally distinct, well, you already know what it is. This level actually has all of its own billboards with like specific jokes if you're not using the pride flag toggle. So the fact that it's making jokes about finishing textures for the trans pride flag and that is technically just because we have that special toggle on. But these are all like jokes about game development. There's one that's specifically about Hitman Absolution and the fact that one of its items says finish this item description later, something like that.
I mean, that's
It's a
how
lot
my
of-
work goes these days. You know, I do
Fair.
a lot of notes to myself saying, finish this one later.
Yep, absolutely. The only thing we cannot put off to later is finishing the speed run because as you probably noticed, we do have a timer at the top of our screen, and that is our life bar for each level, such as it were. So if we run out of time at any point, we don't cross the finish line. And that would be it for our run. By level 8 or so, that's a very real possibility. So even in a category this short, you can see that our level length started out at 20 fastometers per level, and it's already at 24 at this point. I think it goes to 25 by either 8 or 9. So the fact is that every level gets longer, which is why I feel like 10 levels as a showcase is just about the right length. Gives a good opportunity to see what kind of silly levels are in here
Yeah.
without overstaying its welcome. Darwin, anything you want to tell the people about while we're making our way through the rest of Easter Island?
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of time, do you have time for a donation?
Of course.
Olivia Fairlight donated $5 with the comment, "You can't fool me, ateatree. This game is clearly about family.
Always has been.
Always will be."
That's why I like to show it off for people. You're our family right now.
Hey, when you're here, you're family.
Exactly. We're treating ourselves to a little bit of extra sweetness on the road here. Thankfully, the chocolate does not gum the tires down. This would definitely be a level to avoid if it did. Unfortunately, unlike Burnout, coming down on another vehicle vertically does not advantage you, the player. That still counts as taking a hit, so. That's one of those things where if you get going fast enough, you can come down from a ramp and just land on top of a car with like no ability to predict that coming. So sometimes we try to set ourselves up to not have that happen. You might avoid the little rings that go in midair because that's basically an extended version of a ramp, which is good in theory, but can result in you slamming down on top of cars in an undesired fashion. All right, into legally distinct zone from a game that you might have seen on this stream earlier, or rather a
Yeah,
series
no, we're
that you
just
might have
back
seen.
in the Sonic block.
Exactly. This game is all things to all people.
So you gonna tell me about your Sonic OC?
Maybe later. Donation incentive.
And then I did have one question because there's like a million things going on. First of all, the Hurricane Drift. Like, are you seriously doing like a dragon punch every time you're trying to drift?
So that is a move you can do that is an alternative to the boost tackle, which is the little aura that I give off every time I let go of the drift to boost. The boost tackle itself does knock enemy cars out of the way, and the Hurricane Drift will basically do the same thing. I'll go ahead and do it here. So you may have gotten a little look at it just there, and here I'll do it again so you can... So that's an alternative as
Okay,
opposed
yeah.
to using the boost drift. It's not generally preferred because it does interrupt any current boost drift that you are building. but in a pinch, and especially on later cops where they gain the ability to do things like go into the air and slam down on top of you, or shoot out giant spiked balls out of the back of their cruiser, the Hurricane Drift becomes like a, hey, I just used a boost, but I need another attack. Let's go ahead and try that.
Makes sense. And then the shields that you're showing above. I mean, there's nothing right now, but I saw that the cops earlier they had the little shields that like the number of hits
Yes, that is their
on
health.
them.
Correct. Starts
Okay.
at 2, goes up 1 every time you have to deal with more cops, and that's the run. That's time.
Wow, GG. Yeah,
Thank you.
that is
Yeah,
that was done in a flash. Go ahead. Any
Exactly,
shout out?
exactly. But like you could say, like I've done 15 before, and that like getting that 15 levels in under 15 minutes is genuinely like 50-50 at best, even if everything else goes well. But yeah, that all said, my name is ateatree. You can occasionally catch me on twitch.tv/ateatree, but more often you can catch me every other Wednesday on the Games Done Quick Hotfix with a show called Out of the Box about runs not unlike this one that can be done just by buying a game and starting it up. So, accessibility in speedrunning, the idea that you can get into speedrunning by finding the right game is something that's really important to me. So that's part of where the idea for that show came from, and just something that I like to instill in other people who are into the idea of getting into speedrunning but don't know where to start. Beyond that, shoutouts to Osmorn, who just finished running Echo Point Nova and who will be joining me and Xenadir for Windblown very shortly. Please continue donating in the last couple of minutes that you have for the character bid war, and keep watching more Power Up with Pride. Thanks so much, everyone. See you again in a moment.
Thank you so much. Yeah, chat, everyone, go ahead and give ateatree a follow and stand by because I'm gonna be right back here in a minute. Thank you again to ateatree for that amazing buck up and drive run. When I reached out originally about being the host for that run, the instructions I was given was don't look up anything about the game, especially the incentive, and the surprise was worth it. Hopefully, everyone else really enjoyed that run. It was a ton of fun. You're watching Power Up with Pride 2025, raising money for True Colors United, and please stick around for more amazing runs coming up soon. For folks who are just now joining us, this is Power Up with Pride 2025 running all weekend. If you missed any runs in the marathon so far, you can find them uploaded after the marathon on YouTube. You can also stay up to date on this event and any future events by following us on Blue Sky or Mastodon or by joining our Discord. Links for all of these can be found in the panels below the stream or by using exclamation point social in the chat. And chat, I want to know. It's Friday night. I'm pretty cozy here. I have a blanket on. What are you guys up to? What are we doing? You guys ordering pizza? Um, watching our favorite speedrun marathon. I'm curious how we are keeping the vibes positive. Besides, obviously jamming out to some of these amazing beats. I know I said pizza just to, like, manifest, like, the idea that I need to order pizza for myself after my shift.